July 1967. The Soviet Union pulls the curtain back on a nightmare. At an airshow near Moscow, they reveal a weapon that sends a collective shiver through the Pentagon, the MiG-25, codenamed Foxbat. It is massive, menacing, and seemingly unstoppable. Intelligence reports suggest a fighter capable of Mach 3 speed, armed with long-range missiles and engineered for air superiority. The alarm bells in Washington aren't just ringing, they are screaming. We have nothing in our operational inventory that can touch it. In the high-stakes chess match of the Cold War, the Soviets appear to be winning. Faced with the terrifying prospect of being outclassed in the skies, the United States is forced to respond by engineering the greatest fighter jet in history. To understand the panic caused by the Foxbat, we have to look at the bleeding wound that was the Vietnam War. The United States entered that conflict with a fatal arrogance. Military planners were convinced that the age of the dogfight was dead. They believed that new, powerful radars and guided missiles would allow us to obliterate enemies from miles away, long before they were even a visual speck on the horizon. This philosophy birthed the F-4 Phantom, a fast, heavy interceptor loaded with missiles but built without a gun. But over the jungles of Vietnam, that theory collapsed. The skies were a chaotic mess of friend and foe. Identification systems failed, forcing pilots to close within visual range to verify targets, instantly nullifying our long-range advantage. Suddenly, heavy Phantoms were dragged into knife fights with agile, subsonic Soviet MiGs. It was a brawl our pilots weren't trained for, and a jet not designed for it. The Phantom's missiles, designed for slow bombers, were hopelessly inaccurate against turning fighters, with an initial hit rate of only 14%. When the missiles missed, the pilots were defenseless. The Phantom's smoky engines made them easy targets, and the agile MiGs lured them in, tearing them apart. We were bleeding aircraft at an alarming rate. The Air Force scrambled for stopgap solutions, bolting gun parts onto 4 seconds, but these were band-aids on a broken philosophy. We learned the hard way that dogfighting was far from over. We needed a dedicated air superiority fighter, and we needed it fast, because the Foxbat changed everything. The MiG-25 looked like a predator. Its twin tails and massive wingspan suggested a jet built for extreme maneuverability. Intelligence experts feared the Soviets had perfected advanced, lightweight materials, creating a super fighter that could outturn and outrun anything in the West. When the Foxbat started smashing world speed and altitude records, the Pentagon suspected the worst. In 1968, the call went out to America's top designers. Build a plane that can rule the sky. McDonnell Douglas answered the call with a design based on a revolutionary concept called energy maneuverability, a mathematical formula balancing thrust, weight, and drag. The result was the F-15 Eagle. The Eagle was a masterpiece of lethal engineering. It was powered by 2 afterburning turbofans, generating a staggering 48,000 pounds of thrust. It was so powerful it could accelerate while flying straight up, breaking the sound barrier in a vertical climb. Unlike the clumsy F-4, the F-15 featured low wing loading, allowing for tight, crushing turns. The cockpit was perched high, giving the pilot a commanding 360-degree view, while a computerized heads-up display integrated radar and avionics directly into their line of sight. It carried 8 missiles, and crucially, a 20mm Gatling gun capable of firing 6,000 rounds a minute for close-quarters combat. Triple redundant systems ensured that even if the jet was damaged, it could still fight and fly home. The F-15 first took to the air in 1972 and immediately proved untouchable. In testing, it decimated the F-4 Phantom and couldn't be shaken by the agile F-5. But we needed to send a message to Moscow. In 1975, the Air Force created the Streak Eagle, stripping an F-15 of paint and non-essentials to reduce weight. In the freezing air of North Dakota, it shattered the MiG-25's time to climb records by more than 25%. The Eagle wasn't just a match for the Foxbat, it was superior. But the true capabilities of the Soviet superfighter remained a mystery until September 1976. That was when Lieutenant Viktor Belenko, a Soviet pilot, made a fateful decision to defect. He flew his top-secret MiG-25 to a civilian airport in Japan, handing the West the keys to the Soviet kingdom. For years, we had feared this thing. Now, we could touch it. We stripped the Foxbat down, bolt by bolt, and what we found was shocking. The terror of the skies was a bluff. The advanced materials we feared were actually heavy nickel-steel alloy. The jet weighed nearly twice as much as an F-15. Those massive wings weren't for agility. They were simply needed to keep the heavy beast airborne. It was a brick with engines. It couldn't pull high-G maneuvers without ripping apart. Its avionics were ancient vacuum tubes, and its radar lacked the ability to detect aircraft flying below it. The MiG-25 was a pure interceptor, built to fly fast in a straight line to catch bombers. In a dogfight against an F-15, it was a flying coffin. The irony was staggering. The Soviets had cashed in on the propaganda value of the Fox-Bat, terrifying the West, but that terror backfired. It motivated the United States to spend billions, creating the F-15, a jet that actually possessed the capabilities we only times feared times the Fox-Bat had. Since entering service, the F-15 Eagle has cleared the skies of adversaries from the Middle East to the Balkans. It has racked up 104 confirmed aerial victories without a single defeat, a record unmatched in the history of aerial warfare. The MiG-25 was never designed to fight a machine like the Eagle, but in January 1991, over the burning skies of Baghdad, these two Cold War icons finally came face to face. The outcome was a clash of philosophies, the brute force of the Soviet Union against the refined, lethal precision of the United States. And while the Eagle reigned supreme, the Iraqis would use the Fox-Bat's raw speed for one final, daring ambush.